With 72 days to go before the midterms, Republicans, they're facing an increasingly uncertain political landscape after voters in 3 states, Wyoming, Alaska, and Florida, placed their ballots in the primaries last week. The results could give us a window into where voters may land come November. MS Now has moved a key Senate race in Alaska in the Democrats' direction, calling it a toss-up now. Trump won Alaska by double digits just 2 years ago. But now this puts Alaska alongside Maine, North Carolina, Ohio as Democrats' best pickup opportunities for the midterms. If Democrats manage to flip all 4 while holding all their current seats, including Georgia and Michigan, they would win 51 seats and regain control of the Senate. Speaking of Senate races, the South Carolina runoff to fill the late Lindsey Graham seat is coming up this Tuesday. Republican voters will choose between Trump's handpicked candidate, Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene, who has been serving as senator since his death, and Congressman Ralph Norman. Darlene Graham made headlines this week, but not for all the reasons you really want in the middle of a campaign. During a debate with Norman, she stumbled over a question about the U.S. and Taiwan and openly stated, "National security is not my thing." National security was famously her brother's thing, and it's a crucial topic for any U.S. senator to be versed on, naturally. In a bid to play cleanup, Trump appeared at a rally Friday to throw his support behind Graham in South Carolina. Trump appeared to brush aside, though, her lack of foreign policy knowledge, stating, quote, "She's never done it before, but she knows politics well." Trump's handpicked support of Graham's campaign may not be purely altruistic. As much as Trump may be trying to boost Graham's odds, he may also be trying to salvage his own star power within the GOP. Trump is the reason Graham is in the race at all. He encouraged her to jump in and immediately endorsed her. That's a politically risky move for a president whose approval rating sits in the mid-30s. His credibility is at stake. And Trump, who sees himself as a kingmaker, also saw several candidates he endorsed lose their races last week. The president's preferred candidates in 2 Florida House primaries and Wyoming's gubernatorial primary lost. As the New York Times reports, the candidates join a growing list of losses by Trump-endorsed candidates, renewing questions about whether a president approaching lame duck status can still exert as much control as he wants over his party's voters, like we've seen over the last decade. Last week, former MyPillow CEO and election denier Mike Lindell fell short in his race for governor in Minnesota. A week prior to that, Congressman Andy Ogles of Tennessee, remember, he's the one that said that, Donald Trump should be able to run for a 3rd term. He even introduced legislation to try to help him do that. Well, he lost his bid for re-election. Earlier in the summer, candidates whom Trump endorsed faltered in governor's races in Iowa, in Georgia, those primaries. Not to mention his initial pick for governor lost in South Carolina, too. Trump is seemingly aware that his grip on the party may be slipping. Here's what he told Darlene Graham's supporters at that Friday rally.
And the problem that we have is they say that Trump does great when he's on the ballot, but when he's not on the ballot, his people don't come and they don't vote. So what I really want you to do is pretend, please, that I'm on the ballot. Just come and vote. It's so important.
Pretend, please. I mean, that's one way to motivate voters. And as the Democrats try to build on their momentum in the final months of the midterms campaign, well, progressive Aisha Wahab won the special election to replace Congressman Eric Swalwell in California. She will now serve the remainder of Swalwell's term, which ends in January. Wahab, a progressive Democrat, defeated moderate Melissa Hernandez. The two will compete against each other again in November for a full 2-year term. And that wasn't the only win for the progressive movement this week. In Florida, the Democratic Socialists of America scored another major upset, adding to a string of victories for candidates and movements on the progressive left. Jacksonville State Representative Angie Nixon delivered a stunning defeat to retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman in their battle for the Democratic Senate nomination. In part, he had outraised her, had $16 million of campaign funds, Vindman did, to about the $1 million that Nixon had. Nixon's win has reportedly rattled establishment Democrats, though, who worry about her chances against Republican Senator Ashley Moody in a state that hasn't picked a Democrat for Senate since 2012. But perhaps the clearest picture of how voters are feeling comes directly from the voters themselves. Florida voters, some of them spoke with MS Now's Alex Tabbitt ahead of casting their primary votes on Tuesday. Here's what they had to say about how President Trump is running the country.
He's robbed more people. So, yeah, I'm not as fan of him anymore. I thought he was for real, but now I see the people he puts in office, and they're all his buddies. We can't have the 1%ers running everything. You know, the money they have, the power, they just own everything, own all the homes, all the businesses. What's that leave us?
Guess he tried, and now we're in this war, so it's not happening. So I'm a little disappointed with that. People are struggling to stay in their homes, put groceries on the table. They cut more programs that you need, or the money that should be allocated for American people, I believe, have been going elsewhere.
Every time I go get gas, I'm in a payment an extra $1 a gallon or more. Food, I think food prices have gone up on some things. With the exception of eggs, which have gone down, I can't think of another product that's gone down. I mean, everything is up.
Could some of those voters switch over and vote for Democrats for Senate, like Angie Nixon, and for governor? That's the question. With me now on the road in her car is Angie Nixon, Florida State Representative and Democratic nominee for Senate. Good to be with you here this afternoon. Where are we heading, first of all?
Hey, Vaughn, I'm actually home in Jacksonville, but I'm traveling a lot as I normally do in my vehicle. And so I needed to pull over, and I'm here with you.
Well, I appreciate you being here with us here. Good luck on the campaign trail today. I just want to start off with the top line, because you heard from some of those voters who I know spoke to our camera and for the American public, but I know that you're having conversations like that every single day. My question, just to start us off, is, there was about 400,000 more folks that voted in the Republican primary versus the Democratic primary. To skeptics, what would you tell them about your ability to win over some of those Republicans, some of those disenchanted, even Trump voters, to vote for your campaign here in November?
Thank you for that question. I would say that I'm already winning them over. There have been independents and Republicans that crossed over in the primary to vote for me. They changed their party affiliation. And I'm going out talking to everyone, and I'm sticking to the issues that people care about. The fact remains that Ashley Moody is someone who voted to end ACA subsidies, which knocked off nearly 300,000 people off the Affordable Care Act rolls, and it caused many of us who have private insurance to see our premiums skyrocket. And also, like Ashley Moody, also did the bidding of Ron DeSantis and allowed the theft of $10 million that was supposed to go towards the most medically needy children here in our state to be used to defeat two citizen-led ballot initiatives, which could have happily really helped our health and well-being of Floridians. And so they are tired of being lied to. They are tired of people in office like Ashley Moody and Donald Trump working less and less and less and getting richer. Meanwhile, we're on the outside working harder than ever and still struggling just to stay afloat. And that message has been resonating with people, and they know that I'm really accessible and ethical and someone that they can trust. People often come up to me, they ask me questions, some tough questions. I don't run away from them. I stay there, I wait with them, I listen to them, and I let them know that I just want to be someone that represents them.
State Representative, I've spent a lot of years talking to voters on the campaign trail, and I've realized consistently that you can never talk to enough of them, and you can only play political analyst to a certain degree. But I'm going to try to ask you as a candidate to play political analyst, because you activated in your primary a voter base that looks actually quite different from some other Democratic Socialist candidates we've seen running in other states. You did best in Florida's least college-educated counties and won them by 30 points. Can you explain to me why you think that's the case and what your demographics, right, where you have the best chance to pull off a would-be upset in the general election look like?
For sure. I want to be perfectly clear. I just recently joined DSA, and that was because I saw that they were the ones who were really leading the charge and pushing for universal health care here in our country. I am a grassroots organizer. I'm a former union organizer, and I am deeply rooted in Florida, born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. Y'all hear this drawl, and so it's a Southern drawl. And so I have been working all across the state of Florida for nearly 2 decades. I actually was one of the statewide organizers that helped increase our minimum wage that is set to be $15 an hour by this September. I also helped with the automatic rights restoration for returning citizens. And so I've always traveled all across this state, like working and being really heavily involved in the community, especially with the Haitian community, as well as the Hispanic community. I've been on the front lines and at protests and working behind the scenes and sending letters out in regards to the cut, the ending of TPS with Haitian recipients and those who are Venezuelan and things like that. Like, I have always just been rooted in community. And so people know me, people trust me, right? And so what's very frustrating, I would say, is that Ashley Moody and the Republican Party, they're just trying to put me in a box because Ashley Moody doesn't have anything to show for what she's been doing this past, I don't know how long she's been in office, but she has not been helpful. She was doing the bidding of these insurance companies because they were her campaign donors. She didn't check them while she was the attorney general. She could have gone after them for slow walking claims and for denying claims. But instead, she just really did their bidding. And people are frustrated and they're tired of it. And I just happen to be an organizer and able to bring them into the fold and let them know that I believe that hardworking, everyday people should get to shape what their communities look like and what their economies look like. And that is the way I've been legislating previously. And that's how I'll become a legislator. That's how I'll legislate when I become the next U.S. Senator as well.
State Representative Angie Nixon, stick with us here through the commercial break real fast. I want to ask on the other side about some comments that Ashley Moody made about you. We'll be right back. Instead, I wanted to ask you about some remarks from Ashley Moody. A lot of folks may not remember that she is the senator who actually took over for Marco Rubio last year when he joined the Trump administration here. I want to let you listen to some remarks about you. Take a listen.
Angie Nixon wants the United States of America to look like Cuba. That is what they want. In fact, they just celebrated the birth of Fidel Castro. The guy that caused a revolution by saying it was for the people, for the working people, and then oppressed and trafficked and imprisoned them. That is the candidate up for United States Senate.
Now, we could of course make some commentary about whether President Trump is the most socialist president we've had of our times here with some of his efforts from the executive branch here. I'm actually told that we have lost Angie Nixon here for a quick second. We're going to go to break and we'll be back on the other side. State Representative Angie Nixon is unfrozen and back with us here. State Representative, thanks for rejoining. We've got only time for one more question here, though. And, I know you've got the general election to look ahead, but a part of building the campaign is so often having the state party and the national party behind you here. And Axios is reporting about a heated conversation they report is having taken place between you and Florida Democratic Party chair on just this last Friday. Reportedly, you raised concerns about the lack of support from the state party. In return, the state chair warned that your ties to DSA could provide an opening for the GOP to attack you. Number one, is that reporting correct? And I'm going to ask you on the national level here, the DSCC, which is the senatorial campaign backed by Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, they released a statement that was just 4 sentences long. I haven't seen them come on camera to talk about your candidacy since then. I'd be interested to know whether you believe that you are having sufficient backing from the state Democratic Party, the National Democratic Party, and are there any prominent Democrats nationally that you've maybe heard from that folks should know about in terms of who have done outreach to support your candidacy?
For sure. So, number one, I just pride myself on being someone that always put people before politics, people before profit, and people before party. And I am someone who likes to build bridges and tear down walls. I actually am excited because we have, federal nationwide support from some senators outside of the state of Florida that are backing me, that have endorsed me, that will also be helping to fundraise for me. And so, I am someone who I was a former vice chair of the party in Jacksonville. I also was a political director and field director for the Florida Democratic Party. At the end of the day, it's not about party for me. It's about doing the work of the people. And the Democratic Party is a big tent. It's for everyone. And I'm just going to do what I can to go out and talk to as many people and knock on as many doors to actually win this race.
Just real fast, there was a number of people that doubted your candidacy, and despite being outraised 16-1 in the primary, could you just say what your message to Chuck Schumer and Democratic leadership would be right now?
My message to Democratic leadership is, look, y'all, we have to start putting people first and not corporations, not our corporate donors. At the end of the day, the people that are keeping this country going are hardworking, everyday people, not the ones that are the big billionaires and the corrupt corporations that are simply just trying to exploit our labor. And so we put people first, we can actually change the trajectory of this country. And I'm super excited, and I'm asking everyone to support me to become the next United States Senator here in the state of Florida.
Angie Nixon, Democratic state representative from Florida and Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate. Take care out on the road today. Be safe.
Thank you, Vaughn.
Take care.